Hi there. Are you looking to experience more love, more peace, and more abundance in your life? Do you want to wake up each day with greater purpose and feel more fulfilled? If you are, then this is the place for you. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, North Jersey. Over the past 2 decades, our open and affirming community has created a safe space for all to come and be uplifted. I hope you enjoy watching, and if you like what you see, please visit us at cslnj.com.
Spirit and I are one. 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 I say, holy, holy, holy. Holy, 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 we are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy light. We are light. We are light.
Good morning, and thank you, Robin. Appreciate it. Robin Hackett with us today. And as you get more and more of listening to Robin today, you can always go to robinhackettmusic.com. Is that correct, Robin? That's it. And find more of her. Get all you want. Get your fill. Good morning. I am Reverend Neil Pinkman. I'm the spiritual director of this wonderful community. I'd like to welcome everybody here this morning. Whether you're here for the first time, glad to have you. The second time, glad to have you. Or if you're like Joe Schneider and you've been here 347,000 times since 2002, we welcome you too. Good to have everybody here. And we're going to have a great day today. We're going to start by, you can read along with me. I put it in the chat of just reciting once again who it is we are and what we believe. So if you would, please read along with me. We are an open and affirming science of mind community where the vibration of love lifts you, the wisdom of the ages inspires you, and the science of mind teaching empowers you. We believe that heaven and hell are states of consciousness that you experience in this lifetime, and that you are the architect of your life, and that it is never too late to know true happiness. So knowing that everybody's happy, look at these faces. They're all happy faces. I don't see anybody grouchy. Dave's not grouchy. No, I don't see. Anita's laying on the floor, but she's not grouchy. She's kind of sideways there. There she goes. She's happy. That's good. So we're going to have a great morning this morning. We're going to hear from Reverend Joel with a rather inspiring message today.
From my heart, I open up from my heart.
How beautiful. And I open to the magnificent truth of my being. I open to the truth of the one heart, the one love, the one wisdom, the one mind that we all share, and the one heart and love that we all share, being one with the one. I open to who I am, and I open to the power given to me and in me. Open to the love and wisdom to create and share the life of joy, of happiness. I open to the grace that's been given to me, the grace that I live in, the grace to move through this life with spirit in me, to know the truth of each and every one of us as beings of God, of manifestations of God, of the light within. And I bless this time together so that we can know and reinforce this truth for each one of us and for each other. The truth of our being, the truth of our love. As we grow in wisdom, as we grow in trusting and opening to this truth, I accept and I surrender to the magnificence of my being and the magnificence of this life. As I accept this truth, I do so with great gratitude for this community, for the love that we share, and for the beings that we are. In great gratitude, with great love, I surrender this word to truth and to law. Please join me in saying, and so it is.
Thank you, Nettie and Robin both. We have our affirmation in there in the chat. If you'd like to read along, we'll read our affirmation for the audacity to awaken for this year. So, I awaken today with the courage to see myself clearly and love myself wholly, as I am and as I am not. I open my heart to curiosity, trusting that every question leads me deeper into truth. I embrace conscious evolution, knowing that life is always expanding through me. I release what no longer serves and boldly claim my divine power. I am awake, I am courageous, and I am fully alive to the brilliance of my becoming. So that is our affirmation for this year. And we'll go to Nettie for our reading for the day. Thank you, Nettie.
And this reading is from our text, The Science of Mind, starting on page 30. All thought is creative. Since this is true, it follows that we cannot say that one thought is creative while another is not. We must say that all thought is creative according to the nature, impulse, emotion, or conviction behind the thought. Thought creates a mold in the subjective in which the idea is accepted and poured and sets power in motion in accordance with the thought. Ignorance of this excuses no one from its effects, for we are dealing with law and not with whimsical fancy. The conscious mind is superior to the subjective and may consciously use it. Great as the subconscious is, its tendency is set in motion by the conscious thought. And in this possibility lies the path to freedom. The karmic law is not kismet. It is not fate, but cause and effect. It is a taskmaster to the unwise, a servant to the wise.
And now it's time for our peace practice. But I'm going to sneak something in here. Can always expect the unexpected, right? That's what makes this just such an exciting time together. You just never know. I just want to give everybody a heads up because I know some of you have to get out there and shovel the rain or whatever it is you do today. And I want to share this with you to let everybody know before you go that next Sunday is our Friends and Family Sunday. It's a youth day dedicated to the youth that know our center, raised in our center. And we're to the point now where we have adults, that these have become adults. So we're inviting some of them back on next Sunday. So be sure to be there. We're in person and on Zoom next Sunday. But if you join us in person, it's going to be a great time, and we will have Reverend Michelle as our speaker that day. So I will remind you about that again a little bit later, but don't want to miss next Sunday. Peace practice. Peace practice is always needed. It's always important, and what we do know is that peace is at the heart of what we do as a principle of science of mind and a practice of religious science, and that Ernest Holmes spoke to it as well. And I'll start by reading again what it is that Ernest Holmes has said. Act as though peace already possessed your soul, and it will possess it. Act as though peace already emanated from your spirit and will emanate from it. Speak peace into confusion, and your peace will heal that confusion. This healing power is to be used and not merely believed in. That's so important to this entire teaching, is that this is a very practical teaching, and that what we know here in our principles and our teaching is that this is something that needs to be put into practice day to day on an ongoing basis. If you do that, your life works out the way you want it to works out fine. So we're very good there with our peace practice. Thank you. We do have a song before the talk, back with Robin, and then we hear from Reverend Joel.
This is a moment. Well, this is the hour. Time to put everything on the line. And I am the answer. I am the reason. I'm a believer. It's all inside of me. And I will not be broken by some fear. And I will not stand still again. And I won't fall apart like all those times before. 'Cause I won't take it anymore. 'Cause this is a revolution, and I am a changer. I am the master of all I see. And I'm the beloved. I am a lover. And I am the spirit inside of you and me. And I will not be broken by some fear. And I will not stand still again, no. And I won't fall apart like all those times before. 'Cause I are a changer. You are the master of all you believe. And this is your moment. This is your moment. Time to put everything on the line. Whoa, whoa. This is your moment. This is your moment. Time to put everything on the line. This is your moment. This is your moment. This is your moment.
That was awesome, Robin. Thank you so much for that. I wrote down one of the lines, you are a changer. And then one of the line that struck out for me is, I will no longer compromise my life. That actually ties in really well with what I'm going to talk about today. But first things first, dad jokes. What does corn, C-O-R-N, corn, say when it gets a compliment? Aw, shucks. I know. Well, there's a nibble of truth in that. All right. Let's see. What do you call a pig that practices karate? A pork chop. And finally, the worst for last. What do lawyers wear to court? Lawsuits. All right. Uh, Before I start, let me just give you two quick updates. One is, I know a lot of us have been following Mark Nepo and his books and stuff. Mark's new book, The Language of the Soul, How the Words You Choose Shape the Life You Live, comes out on Tuesday. I did an event with him, in conversation between he and I at the New Center in New York City last week, and it is so powerful. People were weeping. So just if you're a Mark Nepo fan, this goes on sale on Tuesday. And there's another book coming that you should be aware of if you haven't pre-ordered it already. This comes out June 16th by somebody, I'm going to try to pronounce this last name, Michelle, Wadley. Dance Like Nobody's Watching, The Soul's Journey to Courage, Authenticity, and Self-Love. I'm going to put the link to the publisher's website page, which has links to like independent bookstores and Amazon and other places. You should pre-order this. Just listen to this because we're so proud of our founder of this center. She says this. She says, "You deserve to stand perfectly grounded in who you are, expressing the fullest version of who you are, which might be something that is unfamiliar. Most of us arrive clumsily into adulthood trying to survive our family and the conditioning of all that surrounds us. You might be aware that you did this, or you might not. It's not easy to be objective about ourselves. This is part of the journey. I believe that as you move through the chapters of this book and apply the simple suggestions in each chapter, you will gain agency over your conditioned self. That is the self with the small s. The self with the small s is your conditioned ego-based self. But the promise of this book is, if fully read and practiced, you will see, feel, and embrace a beauty and strength that is your authentic self. And we know she knows what she's doing. And I love too that every chapter, there are 12 chapters. Each chapter she calls a path. And each chapter has the chapter plus an imagination exercise, journal prompts, a spiritual mind shift, which is her renaming of spiritual mind treatment, a letter to the self, affirmations, and pearls of wisdom. So it's like 12 books in one. So anyway, a shout out for Reverend Michelle. All right. So let's get to the heart of the matter. Oh, somebody's got their mic on or their sound on. All right. Great. Okay, here we go. So we have been talking this month about the audacity to heal, and you can hear through the different talks that it's taking on a lot of different meanings. I'm going to talk today about owning your power and how healing that is when we own our power, or as Robin just saying, no longer compromising our life. So if we talk about owning our power, that begs the question, what is your power? And where does your power come from? The ego will tell you one thing, but we're on the spiritual path, so we see power in a different way. We teach in our movement one power, the power. And so audacity is to be that power in the world, in your world. Healing our smallness is another way of saying it so that we can live our greatness. Reverend Neil said a couple of weeks ago in his talk, which if you didn't see it, you should go back and on YouTube and watch it. It was very powerful. He said, healing is not fixing, it is returning. Returning to what? To our power, which another name for power is presence. I don't know about you, but have you noticed that life is always trying to move me or us to our authenticity? And when we live that authentic self, when we no longer compromise our life, that is healing. So let me tell you about a story. This is a story that happened back in the 1990s. Not with anyone you know, but it was with a minister. It's a conversation I had with this minister that had a big effect on me. I'm going to call this minister Jane. Just that's not this person's name, but that's a name that we can use for this purpose. So Jane was had gone to an event where she was going to give a talk, and she had to fly there and do her talk, and then flew back. And when she came back, she and I were talking on the phone, and I asked Jane, "How did it go?" And Jane said, "Well, it did not go good." I said, "Why not?" And she said, "Well, there was nobody at the airport to greet me when I got there. So I had to get myself to the hotel. And it was not a first class ticket, which is what I had requested. It was just a general ticket. And then when I got to the hotel, she said, Joel, this isn't the kind of hotel I would have stayed at. And she said, I thought that the event itself would be larger. And she went on to tell me that the food they served was not very good. And then she said that she had requested that they have a check for her at the end of the event, but they didn't have the check ready, so they had to mail it to her. And she said, Joel, how do they expect me to do my best under these conditions? And it really struck me. That conversation really struck me. I mean, I remember it all these years later, because I really looked up to Jane, and I still do, by the way. She was having a human moment, but it really struck me because it made an impression on me because she was a minister like me, and she was going there to share wisdom. She was going there to, be the light. But instead of using that opportunity of being this beacon of positivity and truth and depth, she just stayed on the surface and only saw what didn't happen for her. It was all about what she wanted that didn't happen. And it was really, I just noticed that so much. And for me, it was like she was living like a cork on the ocean, floating on the surface of life. She was being at the mercy of life's ups and downs, That's when we feel good, when we're up, and we feel bad when the wave is down. And so she's like, I didn't get first class, bad. I didn't get a ride from the airport, bad. I didn't get a fancy hotel room, bad. I didn't get my way, bad. That's not, like spiritual depth. That's like what toddlers do, right? My toddler did that. I do that sometimes. We all do that sometimes. This is not about Jane being a bad person, by the way. This is a teaching lesson, right? So, uh, like if I get my way, it's good. If I don't get my way, it's bad. And or if I get my way, I did everything right. And if I don't get my way, I must have done something wrong. That kind of stuff. Social media, as you know, is filled with people proclaiming their quirk experiences. Oh, this was great. This was bad. This was great. This was bad. Like, oh, I went to this restaurant and it was fantastic. Oh, I went to this restaurant and they didn't treat me well, or here's this person I really love. Here's this person that dissed me, or anything, like it's all about the other, that thing outside of them that was good or bad, and how they're going to react to it. And then they're going to tell you on social media about their reaction. We live in that kind of world. We live in that world. And, you know, I guess it makes sense in the sense that Ernest Holmes says in The Science of Mind that there is this race consciousness, not race as in color of skin, but race as in human race and race consciousness. And the consciousness is always the lowest common denominator. So that's what we often see reflected in the world is the lowest common denominator. And that's cork mentality. Didn't get my way bad, got my way good. And yet, here we are in this group here on the spiritual path. And the spiritual path is always, always, always calling us to go deeper, to go beyond that kind of good or bad mentality, but rather to truth. That is the definition of alchemy. I say it all the time. The definition of alchemy is seeing the sacred in the profane. If we can see the sacred in everything, that is alchemy. We have turned lead literally into gold. Rumi, the Sufi poet, said that there is a field beyond good and bad. I'll meet you there. Now, those are either words or they're something that we believe and that we live. And I believe that on the spiritual path, our call is always to go deeper. So I had that conversation with Jane, and I remember when I hung up and I was writing in my journal about it because I was really bothered by it. And I thought, oh, okay, there's three levels of what's happening here. Level one is for Jane was how did Jane experience them, right? That's the reactive level. What happened to me? What did I not get that I wanted? How was I treated? These are all kind of ego-centered perceptions. This is where Jane got stuck in this. And again, this is not about Jane. This is about that, humanness, that lowest common denominator that we all can get really stuck in. We all do that sometimes. So this is that. So she was at this. How did she experience them or that? But then there's a second level, and the second level it requires slightly more kind of spiritual maturity, I think, is a way you could say it. It's slightly deeper awareness. It's a self-reflection. What she could have done is she could have come back and said, okay, that's how I experienced them. How did they experience me? What energy did I bring? What atmosphere am I creating, not just for myself, but for everyone? That's going from beyond the ego into a sense of empathy, of togetherness, of oneness, right? Because now she's not just experiencing to me, but she's me to them. So now this is back and forth, the dance of life. But then there's the third level. And that third level is Jane could have thought to herself later, how could I have affected this situation? That is our level of intention, the level of presence or power. That's when we go back to that place of no longer compromising ourselves. That is the level of possibility. Who do I want to be in moments like this? How can I serve here? This is a good reflection to have, not to bring shame or, whatever for us and or the way we may or may not have reacted or acted in moments, but to bring awareness for the next time. It's a way of building muscle of being present. So we go from how did they affect me to another level, which is, okay, well then I wonder how they experienced me. What did I bring to this that helped cause this experience? And then the third level is, what could I have done that maybe would have created a different outcome? Jane showed up at level one, which was her most human self, but she could have showed up as the light of life. You know, she didn't see that maybe there were many opportunities in this situation. And we've all heard the phrase, uh, what is the phrase? Blessings, the disguised blessings. Sometimes blessings are well disguised, right? And instead, she showed up as her most human, smallest self. That's not shame. That's what we all do. But something happens when we move to that deeper level. Suddenly, instead of what I want or don't want, it's, oh, blessing in disguise. Thank you, Mary. That's exactly what I was going for. Um, uh, we go out of the place of what I want or didn't want, or how did this affect me, et cetera, to what was possible here or what is possible here. Because we can do it in a reflection, but on the spiritual path, maybe our practice is to do it ahead of time so that we can create more possibilities. So that was the story of Jane. Let me tell you a story of another story that also happened in the 1990s. Also somebody that you don't know, but we have Jane, so I'm going to call this person Janet, which I'm just now realizing is Jane with a T at the end. So Janet, this one's Janet. And this is a very different one. Janet is not a minister, but she is a spiritual teacher, and she wrote a book. This was back in the 1990s. And, she was at back then in publishing back then, they used to send authors around for book signings. They don't really do that very much anymore because of Zoom and all of that. But she was going around doing book signings. And she showed up at a book signing at one of the stops on her tour. And there it was, book signing with Janet at 7 p.m. and 7 p.m. shows up. And there were only two people who had showed up to see her. Janet started at level one in her mind, which she was really disappointed. That's the core part of her. She thought, I think I'm just going to go cancel this for only two people. Come on, I'm just going to go cancel. And she, in her mind, was already starting to complain. The store didn't promote it enough. The publisher didn't give me enough media to make more people aware of the signing, etc. And in this day and age, she would have just done that instantly on her phone. She would have gone to Instagram and only two people showed up. Why don't publishers support their authors anymore or whatever? And she would have put that, and then she probably would have gotten, like 1 million likes for it and lots of agreement because of that level of race consciousness, lowest common denominator. But Janet is a spiritual teacher. So she was grounded before she got there. That's not to say she didn't have that human moment, but she was grounded before she got there. And she stopped herself and she said to herself, I am here. So let me be the presence of life here, right where I am. And so she invited the two women who showed up to the talk to sit down with her. And because it was only her and two people, they ended up having this really deep, deep conversation that wouldn't have been possible if it had been a larger book signing. So she left the event feeling really good. She felt like she had truly connected with these two who had showed up, and she felt so much gratitude for it. And that could have been the end to that story. And if it had been the end to that story, she would have been so satisfied that she brought her, she didn't compromise her life and she brought her presence, capital P presence, to this situation and deeply connected with others. That wasn't the end of this story. What she didn't know is that one of those two people, this woman, was married to the head of programming at a major TV network. And that woman went home and told her husband about this amazing hour she had just spent with an author, a deeply enriching hour that was possible because it was just the author and her friend that had gone. And she suggested to her husband to put this author on the network's morning show, which he did. And the book became a bestseller. So, on the surface level, two people show up at a signing. That was a disaster. And Janet could have just left it there, complained about it, felt bad about it, and created drama from it. But instead, by opening herself up to it, it became a career turning point for her. The miracle, though, wasn't that the book became a bestseller. The miracle was that she chose presence over resentment or ego before she even knew that there would be another outcome. Presence, presence, presence. The word presence, if you look it up, means a state of being present, a demeanor that one holds, calm, collected state of mind with the faculties ready at command. I love that definition. That's what presence is. To be in a state of being present, having a demeanor that holds that power, being calm, being collected in a state of mind with the faculties ready at command. And it's interesting because when I was thinking about this and I was thinking about the word present, being present, I thought, wait, present has like three meanings. To be present means be here. To present is a verb, which means to give. And what do you give? A present or a gift. So then I was playing around with it and I came up with to be present is to fully arrive somewhere, but to bring presence is something even deeper. It is to become a calming, grounding, healing force within the moment itself. To be present is to present our presence, which is a present for the world. See what I did there? Anyway, let me give you a real life example of this from my own life. When I had started to have one of my Jane moments that turned into a Janet moment for me. A while back, I had a really overwhelming week. It feels like when I give talks, I often talk about my overwhelming week. So clearly that is something I need to look at. But it was one of these overwhelming weeks. And it was one of those weeks that I just had so many meetings. I mean, morning, just all day meetings, 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 meetings. There was one day that I had meetings back to back that I had no even bathroom breaks or lunch breaks put in the whole day. Now, lucky for me, my meetings are all kind of right here where I am because I work from home most of the time. But I just started feeling overwhelmed. I felt I felt an overwhelm. I felt dread for the week ahead of me. And my mind started to just get really just going into this place that kind of, I don't know if I'm the only person here who does it, but I started to catastrophize the whole thing. How this meeting, right, is just, I mean, how this week is just going to be too much and this and that, and I'm not ready, and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, but I'm on this path, and I know that alchemy is to see the sacred in everything. So I went to my morning pages and I complained like Jane did. I put all my complaints in my morning pages, and in the morning pages I wrote, "Where is the joy in this week?" Question mark, question mark, question mark in capital letters. I can be a little dramatic in my morning pages, I admit it. Um, and I was like, where is the joy in this week? As if the world owed me joy, right? But in my morning pages, the nice thing I like about morning pages is they're interactive. So even as I wrote it, something in me wrote back to me, and it says, "You are called to bring the joy to the week." Oh, right. Okay. Yes. I don't get to be Jane in this week. I get to be Janet in this week. Um, and then so I wrote, how? How do I bring the joy to the week? And it was the answer back was reframe each event as simply the next thing. Oh, okay. I don't have meeting after meeting after this, after this, after this. It was, I have this thing, then I have the next thing, then I have the next thing, and then I have the next thing. And it reminded me to take a breath before each one of those things to remember that I am called to be the presence of joy here in this next thing. Okay, I can do that. So I did that. I did that each week. There were no good meetings. There were no bad meetings. There were no good people. There were no bad people. There was no good or bad. There just was the next thing to bring my awareness to and to remember that my job wasn't just to show up and answer questions or whatever. My job in this meeting was to be the presence of joy, to bring the joy. So if other people weren't feeling the joy, I was there to be it. That was my job. I didn't have to get it from them. I could bring it and give it to them. So became a week of, okay, there's this. I'm going to bring the joy here. Then there's this. I'm going to bring the joy here. Then there's this. I'm going to bring the joy here. Did I do it perfectly? No, I did not. But did I do it a lot? Yes, I did. And you know what? That week was freaking amazing. I had so many connections, so many surprises happen. I didn't get a bestseller because there was nobody there who was married to the head of programming like Janet, but I got so many surprises and I made connections and good things happened from it. And more importantly than the things that I got from it, I felt fully alive. And I knew that I was fulfilling part of my purpose on the spiritual path to show up as the thing that I want to see in the world. We talk about that all the time here. I knew that I was doing that. I was fulfilling it. I was no longer compromising anything. I was being it. And it felt so good. It's like the St. Francis prayer, where he says, seek not first to be understood, but to understand. In other words, we do the thing first. And then when we do that, what happens is we are open and then more life can come through to us because it's coming through us. So, what if we are called to people and situations to be that presence of light? Not in a way, not in like that Disney way, like if it was a movie and we were showing up at a thing and then it's like, oh, yes, I remember it. And then Disney music plays and the sweeping light and great lighting and all that kind of stuff. Not in that way, just in the here and now, right here, right now. Your life as it is, not good nor bad. It's just the thing in front of you. What if we are perfectly placed where we are? And what if we miss that opportunity? Oh my gosh, what an opportunity to miss the now. And what if in the presence, if we become presence in the now, what if that ushers in something even greater next? That's why taking that breath, going deeper, and being the thing that we want, wherever we are, ushers in something greater. We don't have to know what the greater is. We don't have to force anything to happen. We just be the presence. So, storms exist in our life, right? On the surface, waves are always going to happen. Disappointments are still going to happen. The spiritual path is not about denial. This is not about spiritual bypass, but depth does not eliminate weather on the surface. It just changes where we live from. The goal is not to stop the waves. The goal is to stop mistaking ourselves for those waves. Remember, the deeper waters are still connected to the storm above. They're just not ruled by it. That's why we go deeper, so we are grounded and we're not swayed quite as much. So, in closing, let me just ask this. Who do you want to be, even when things don't go your way? Even when we get stuck in a Jane moment where that part of us, maybe our inner toddler says, "This isn't what I want." How do we move from Jane to Janet? What version of you or me do we bring into each room, whether it's a virtual room or a literal room that we are in? Are we merely reacting to life, living on the surface, subject to every up or down that happens, and then sharing that out in the world? Or are we living a deeper experience and bringing presence to life and sharing that out into the world? The world is always going to tempt us to go back to the surface. That's group thought. That's the lowest common denominator. But every spiritual practice that we do, especially just taking a breath, is really like an invitation to go deeper. Not so that we escape life, but so that we can finally be fully present to it. And that act of being fully present to life opens it, it deepens it, and it transforms it into opportunities divine. Being presence heals our separation, and that's what brings us fully into the power of life. Talk about, I will no longer compromise my life. I'm going to now be the presence in it to everything that happens, every moment and every place and everyone. Let's take that breath now and let's just go deeper than the surface. And let's just remember that there is one power in presence. That's what we teach. That is the first thing we teach. It is the primary teaching of our movement. There is one power, one presence. And as we know this one power and one presence, that must mean we are one with it. How could it be otherwise? How could it be otherwise? So now we just allow anything that keeps us from it, from knowing that, to dissolve, so that we become more and more and more aware of that presence inside of us, more each moment, more each day, more each week and each month, so that we become the living embodiment as much as we possibly can at any moment to being presence. We don't have to wait for something out there to bring it to us. We are called on the spiritual path to be the presence itself and bring it to the world, our world, the one world. How great to know that. How great to know that we can affect our world just by being presence and opening ourselves up to every possibility there is. It's a shift from being on the surface to living from our depth. How wonderful to know that. I'm so grateful to know that. And I just released this, knowing it to be true for myself and everyone who is listening to these words and everyone that we put in our mind as well. And let's just spread this out and envision the entire world surrounded by this presence, this one mind presence. Take a breath and just know that our being presence lights up the world. And with that, I know this, I believe it, I release it, and together we say, and so it is.
I open up to the one. I open up to the one.
All right, thank you, Robin, for that, and Joel, thank you for that wonderful talk. And I know a lot of people have trouble with Michelle's last name. It's really supposed to be Pinkley, not Wadley. So you know that's just how it goes. Um, so all right, beautiful, fantastic. Another great and inspiring morning here. This is wonderful. I do want to. We'll go to our abundance blessing and the moment of gratitude that thank you all for all you do to keep this community going, to keep this teaching going, to keep our ability to spread the joy, the happiness, and the presence to all that we come in contact with. So that is fantastic. And whether it's through time or donations, financial, which of course we need, or that we use that in order to keep ourselves going, that's, all greatly appreciated. So I'll put in the chat our conscious giving affirmation. And if you would, just say it along with me. I bless this gift that I give today. I give this gift from my heart, and I give it mindfully. May my gift go further to heal, prosper, and bless this center and all who enter. I accept all good that comes as a result of this flow, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly, and so it is. And with that, we'll get into again next week, since we're talking about that. And Reverend Michelle, she will be here next week, and we will have let's see, family and friends. There we are. So that you can stop in. And Reverend Joel, I do believe that when you referred to your young infant or child, that your son Rafi is going to be part of this celebration next week, right?
Yes, he is. Yep, he sure
Fa-
is.
Fantastic. And so join in. We're inviting back all of those. If you know anybody who was raised here, who did spend time here when they were young, we'd love to have everybody return and see what they look like now that they're 29 and not like 6, you know. I mean, it's a little bit of a difference, you know. So that is something we definitely want to invite everybody to be here for next week. I do want to also mention that last week on the 17th, we had our meeting about the bylaws. There were a couple of points that were brought up. We did not necessarily. There were a good point was brought up in particular, and we did not necessarily rewrite the bylaws. We shifted on the suggestion that we just shifted how we operate. The officers of the organization are structured so that it aligned with the bylaws better than what it did. Minor shift, just in terms of having a president and a chair. So what we're going to do is sometime in about a week, I will send out again the bylaws with an email with a link for you to cast your vote, yay or nay, on accepting those bylaws through our Breeze form, so that you'll be able to click on this form and be able to voice whether you approve of the new bylaws or not. Again, what we've built here in this community is wonderful. It's loving, it's kind. We have the ability to help each other through our InReach program, which we continue to do. And when somebody comes up and needs some help, we like to be able to say yes. And we've been able to do that again recently. So any donations that you'd like to make going forward have have those donations earmarked for our InReach program. It's always good to have that on hand. And if you need help, please let us know. We'll see what we can do in order to support you. So, and that I just said to Michelle, I think it was yesterday, that these months are just ticking by awfully quickly. I mean, even though it feels like March out there, it's actually the end of May. And here we are there already. So we're going to wrap up May with that talk by Reverend Dr. Michelle next week about family. Her title is Loving Them Anyway, the Spiritual Practice of Family. Or, as Ram Dass said, if you think you're enlightened, visit family. That is what we have for our announcements today. And thank you all for being here this morning. We'll go back for a song for our closing song with Robin. But thank you, Robin. Thank you, Nettie. And thank you, Reverend Joel. Thank you, everybody, for being here as well and for all that you do.
Be the peace you want to see. Then share your peace with everyone you meet. Let it begin. Let it begin. Let it begin with you. And be the joy you want to see. Then share your joy with everyone you meet. Let it begin. Let it begin. Let it begin with you. And be the love you want to see. And share your love with everyone you meet. Let it begin. Let it begin. Let it begin, yeah, with you. Be the joy. Be the peace. Be the love. And let it begin. Let it begin. Let it begin with you. Let it begin. Let it begin. Let it begin with you. Let it begin. Let it begin. Let it begin with you and me.
Spiritual Living North Jersey, we believe in empowering individuals to discover their inner strength and their connection to divine life. Through our supportive community, transformative workshops, and uplifting services, we provide a safe space for personal growth and spiritual exploration. Whether you're seeking clarity, healing, or a deeper understanding of life's mysteries, our center offers practical tools and timeless wisdom to help you thrive. Join us in creating a more diverse, compassionate, and kind world. Your world, the way you want to create it.